Hey you. Do you want a sugarcane farm that is going to make more sugarcane than you're ever going to need? Do you want to impress your friends with a farm that looks pretty fancy, but actually it's not that hard? Well, I have the solution for you, because we're going to have a tutorial for the sugarcane farm that we have inside our chat in the Hardcore Let's Play series. And yeah, it also looks pretty fancy, but don't worry, we're going to make it step by step, so we're able to see how the whole thing works. So let's jump right into it. Right, so for this farm, we're going to be using flying machines. And very important, those flying machines are going to go on honey blocks. So the good thing about this farm is that it is going to be modular. Well, you can put these side by side and make it as big as you want, and you're going to be able to make it as long as actually the hopper minecarts that are going to be picking up all of the sugarcane actually allow. So those hopper minecarts are going to travel on top of those iron trapdoors, and our flying machines are going to go in the, the pushing system is going to go in the middle. So for that, we're going to place a sticky piston over here, then honey, and a sticky piston facing the other way. And we're going to get observer facing outwards in here, and observer facing outwards in here. So this would be one of the flying machines, but since we're going to be triggering, we can trigger both of them at the same time, we're going to have a symmetric flying machine on this side over here, with our observers facing these, in these directions. To make sure that our flying machine doesn't fly away into the distance, we're going to put some furnaces. Well, you can put furnaces, you can put obsidian, something that our pistons cannot move. And with this, we actually have this side of the farm almost ready. We're going to place on the other side another one of those lines, and that line needs to be same height as the one that we have on the other side, and it's going to be right on the edge of our sugarcane. So facing it like so. So the next thing that we need to do is find a way of sending these flying. And one recommendation: this farm is going to make a ton of sugarcane, so you can either have a hopper clock, or you can just place a daylight sensor like the one that we have in chat. So to connect these pistons, let's get some colored concrete, just like the professionals. And put our redstone line that goes on it, and whatever we are going to be using to trigger this system. In our case, we're going to use a button, but as we said, you can use a daylight sensor, you can use a hopper clock to send these flying away. So the flying machine is going to reach the other side, so we need to find a way of sending it back, because we want the flying machine on that side, and for it to be sent every time that, as often as we want. So to get that, we're going to get another sticky piston over here that, when activated, is going to send the flying machines the other way. So to get the flying machines going the other way when we want, we are going to be getting this piston over here, and we're going to be detecting when the flying machines arrive to this side. But we need to make sure that we put our repeater. We need to make sure that this goes into our repeater with at least, I think it's a couple ticks delay, and the signal goes into our piston. So like this, every time that our flying machine reaches the other side of the farm, it needs to be a couple ticks. And giving it another try, now that we have set up this repeater to 4 ticks, And now we are able to send our machine back and forth. Perfect. So with this, we do have a big part of the farm. The next bit is going to be the collection system. So hopper minecarts are going to be traveling on top of those iron trapdoors. When the flying machine reaches this side of the farm, when it goes backwards, it's not going to be carrying the hopper minecart. So we need to find a way of sending these to the other side. So to get our minecarts back, we're going to actually get them up through a water elevator and send them across to land on those iron trapdoors. So we're going to poke, those 4 blocks behind the sugarcane, and we're going to start making our water elevator. And the way that, and we have to get these at least, I would say, a couple blocks above above the flying machine itself, just to make sure that the rails that we're going to be using to get the minecarts back do not affect the flying machines themselves. So we're going to pick up our minecarts on these powered rails. And that's very important to make sure that these are connected like this. So a small trick, just make the regular rail line a little bit longer and make sure that it's connected to the powered rails, just to make sure that our minecarts can land in there and then keep going. And on top of our water elevator, we're going to place those 2 redstone blocks and slabs, just to make it easier. Slabs going all the way to the other side. And our slabs need to end around this point. So once you have this, this rail line over here, it is going to be very important to just get this 1 block below and get these powered rails over here falling down. And these power rails need to be powered, but we need to make sure that these are powered rails, so we make sure that they don't mix with one another. Because if you do it like this, the minecarts are going to get in here way faster than your flying machines. So it might be that your minecarts just fly away. So we need a way to stop it, or mostly to make sure that the minecarts just fall whenever we want. And to do that, we're going to get our fence gates and put them right in front of our powered rails. We're going to get 1 line of these. And what we are going to do is to hook up this an observer line that is going to be triggering all of these, all of the fence gates at once when the flying machines actually get here. So if we get this blue line over here, we put, we can already put all of our fence gates like so. And if we place an observer over here, let's put another one for good measure, and some redstone on top. And let's give it a test before we place any of the minecarts. And send back. And when they arrive, we're going to have that flash over there opening all of the trapdoors. So now that we know that it almost works, we can show how this is going to work. So our minecarts land in here, get pushed, jump in there, go to the other side. And if this was opened, let's open it for a second, our minecart just lands on our flying machine. Let's put the other one real quick. So we're going to just get this system in the rest of our farm, but we're almost done with it. And with that, we actually have the whole thing almost ready. So if you hit the button, sending the flying machine the other way. We drop the hopper minecarts, they jump up, and they come the other way around. So, the problem that you might have seen is that in this case, our flying machine is actually faster than our hopper minecarts. That is going to depend on how big this farm, well, yeah, how big you want to make the farm. The fix that you could have for this is instead of having, you're going to need the, those powered rails. But one of the things that you could do if your flying machine is faster than your minecarts is just swap this by a detector rail. So if you put, instead of the powered one, you put a detector rail, the minecarts are only going to fall down when they get there. So we can actually see it with this one over here. We send it away and it lands perfectly. So that you're going to need to test that yourself. But there is an alternative in case you don't have this many rails or just want to take your time. And that system would be this one over here. So actually the whole point of this farm, well, this design was me trying to save a ton of rails and thinking about different ways of getting these minecarts, well, back and forth through the flying machines. And I started with this system over here. That works exactly the same. But when it reaches the end, minecarts fall, fly up, and instead of getting on rails, they get on water streams that slowly but surely they will end up putting the minecarts back in their place. But that is going to be completely up to you. So let's give a look to the last bit, which is the collection system that we can hook to this, and it is going to be a pretty simple one. So it doesn't really matter the way that you are getting the rails back, because the way that we are going to be, well, getting all of the profits from this farm is just by getting a line, well, chest wherever, mostly in, I'm going to recommend the middle for symmetry. Then again, hoppers, and a line of hoppers that is going to go right underneath this over here, right underneath the iron trap doors. And with that, we actually have the whole farm completely ready. So let's give it a run. But as we said, flying machines pushing the minecart, all of the sugarcane falls directly into the minecart. I hate you. But if there is no wandering trader to screw up the demonstration, we get all of the minecarts back into our position, and we are going to end up getting all of the sugarcane in whatever system we need. So that actually does it. As we said, you can make this as long as you want. I think that you would have to count how many items can a hopper minecart have in, and at the same time you can make this as big as you want sideways as well, just repeating this very same pattern. But the last recommendation is you're definitely going to need a big storage system if you're going to work on this one. And with that, we have completed our sugarcane farm. It has worked wonderfully for me, but tell me in the comments how is it working for you, or any changes that we could make besides, well, stopping the wandering trader blocking the minecarts. But I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you on the next one. See ya!